Hey, what's up, guys? It's Noah Schnacky. Thank you so much for bringing me to Berlin. I loved playing for you guys. You absolutely rocked. C2C, thank you so much for having me. So how does Noah Schnacky write a song? Well, I can't believe I'm telling you guys this, but like there's a little bit of a difference, I guess, in the way that I write than probably most people. Like my writing kind of started as a young kid in poetry. Like I can remember being this, this is just too much, but I remember being 13, 12 years old and being such a hopeless romantic that I would literally create a playlist on my phone of all the songs I wanted to listen to with that special someone in my life one day. And I'd play it by myself in my room and just stare at the ceiling and let things come to me. And as I kind of developed these thoughts in these different scenarios in my head, I'd write poems about them. And I was like just the weirdest, like goofiest, little hopeless romantic as a young kid. And so then eventually those poems turned into the first couple songs that I wrote. And I never had a problem with creating melodies, and sometimes things hit me even harder when I connected a melody to them. So that became kind of the tinder that I write songs around. Or like it'd become the ideas that I would say, well, that's cool, but then if I said it this way, it's a little more catchy, and then I bring that into an opportunity to write. And that's kind of how I started. When it comes to the way that country music has evolved, it's not so unique from other different genres. I've always heard that creativity is just building on the backs of the people you appreciated the most. Growing up in my own life, that was Garth Brooks, Tim McGraw, Kenny Chesney. But I live in a different generation than the people that came before me did. And so the way that I express what I liked about that music is different. So when I started writing my own music, I didn't know that it would be country. I fell in love with storytelling and connecting with people's emotions and their heart and trying to express myself as authentically as I could. And when I put that down on paper, it just turned into country music. And so the way I see the genre kind of unfolding in this next generation is people just truly expressing themselves as authentically as they can and truly keeping the core of storytelling, which country music is known for, but putting it into a format that reaches this generation. A movie can bring you to tears in 2.5 hours. It can change your perspective, it can make you laugh, it can make you sigh, but a song can do that in 2.5 minutes. And it has this unparalleled capability to bring someone somewhere, like last year's summer, or back to a relationship in their past, or to remind them of what life is really about so quickly. And so when I think about where life is at right now, it's cool because music does something really unique. It highlights the things in life that bring us together, and so much of our culture is doing the opposite of that. You know, it's so funny that we can get so caught up on the 1% as humans that we disagree in, whether it's our political stance or whatever it is, that we forget about the 99% of things we have in common, like love and a love for life and passion and family and stuff like that. So I love that music unifies us like that. My favorite thing to do, especially being in Berlin right now, like I love exploring cities. I think this world has so much to offer, and like I just posted on my social media, because I love to get really candid and authentic on my social media. I just posted something about how one day I hope when I'm married that I can just disappear for a few years and explore the world with my wife. Like that would be really special to me, because like I feel like there's so many cultures that I'm yet to explore and so many ways of living that I'm yet to see. And I would love to do that more and more. So when I'm on the road, whether it's in Vermont in the United States, or it's in Berlin, or it's Amsterdam, like I love the idea of trying to ingrain myself in the culture and just learning about what this world has to offer. And I used to think like, how can I make my show better? And like, how can I be an even bigger presence on stage and stuff like that? And how can I really deliver more? And as I've traveled to more and more places like London and Berlin and Amsterdam, and I've kind of realized that my favorite artists are the best at serving their audience. Like I want to come into a place like Berlin and know the people so well on a person-to-person level that I know what they're looking for. You know, because an audience in Amsterdam and an audience in Berlin are looking for a different side of me. Maybe one's looking for more of the stories behind the songs, and maybe one's looking to have a great time. Maybe one's looking for a combination of both. And so one of my favorite things to do when I come to a city is just learn the people. like get to know people, like walk around and say, hey, yesterday I didn't tell anybody this, but I snuck into the crowd in C2C and like just mingled a little bit, getting to know people and understanding what their likes and interests are. Because to me, that's what's so special about traveling, is getting to know the people you're around and who like country music like I do. I'm so lucky because in Berlin here, I've got an extra day. In Amsterdam, we had like a half a day. So we took transit to the other side of the city and we just walked right back through it. And that was kind of my taking in the city, and we tried different coffee. And actually I found out a little bit of a, I'll tell you a funny story. I'm like really big into coffee. And so we were looking for a good coffee spot to go to. And so I typed in coffee shop in Amsterdam, and you know where this is going. I'm the only person who didn't know where this was going. And so I pride myself in finding the best coffee in town. So I try to like look at the reviews and find the right one. And this one place had like crazy good reviews. And I was so excited about it. And like I looked at the pictures, the first pictures, they're holding trophies that say best. And I don't know what says best, but like these trophies later I found out it wasn't best coffee, it was something else. And so I showed up. And we probably not drove ourselves, but on transit, like between the walking and everything, like a 45-minute walk to get to this place. And we finally get there, I'm like, this is gonna be the spot, this is where we're going. And we walk in, and it was just like, I almost fell over. It was so strong. Like the essence of marijuana in that place was so strong. And I learned that in Amsterdam, coffee shop can mean coffee shop. And cannabis shop does mean cannabis shop, but coffee shop can also mean cannabis shop. And cannabis shop never means coffee shop. So, you know, the tips and tricks of Noah Schnacky whenever you're in Amsterdam, remember that. When I was a little kid, I loved cars. So I'd probably say one of my favorite things, if I wasn't, and I still believe this, if I wasn't in singing, I would probably want to be a race car driver. Just because like I get a kick out of it. I love racing, and I like the idea of the adrenaline, and like I've always been like fascinated by cars. So I would probably say that's where I hang with it. But I would want to race like vintage sports cars. You know what I mean? None of this like Formula One's really fast, like really cool too. But for me, like I like the class, the style of it, you know, and like really getting down to muscle. That's fun for me. Becoming a singer was one of those things that just kind of happened to me. I remember being 13 years old, and I filmed this little cover just being goofy in my room of this song, and my mom, without telling me, posted it on some internet singing competition. And then we got an email in the mail a couple months later that said you're in the top 10 out of 35,000, and we didn't know what that meant, and we thought it was spam, and so we almost threw out the email. And thankfully we didn't, and that she saw it and showed us what she had submitted us for, or me for, and that was kind of an encouraging thing as a young kid. And I remember they flew us to New York, and they filmed a music video and stuff like that. It was kind of a crazy little deal. And so then after that, you know, it was always one of my passions, but it was never the passion until the day I picked it up truly and tasted it. And when I started writing my own songs, and I started telling my own stories and seeing people connect with that, the way it impacted them, it was the best high I've ever felt. The idea that I could connect with so many people and be authentically who I am, get to share my stories and encourage people that way, it was all I wanted to do. And I never looked back.